Hi everyone and welcome back to the May WARNO Tournament. Today we have Hippie vs ZergOnDope, 2 games in a row. In this first game on the left hand side of the map in red we have Hippie playing as the 3rd Armoured Division, not something we have seen very often in previous rounds. And then on the right hand side in blue we have ZergOnDope as the 4th Motsuchin Division. Hippie going for a possibly slightly... No, I thought he was going to send those to Delta, but he's actually peeling one of those off to go to the center. Large amount of forces for ZergOnDope in the center. Lots of the FS Jaegers heading down the center there. He is deploying. Good. That's a good early push. Good use of those guys. Wow. That was a lot of rockets coming out of there. Now, my only concern is that these units are very clustered in the grand scheme of things. Not too much at the top. One squad down here. Or one recon unit, I should say. This is good. Needs to be careful with that chopper. He's getting hit by a chaparral or 3. 3 chaparrals right at the start. That's ballsy for Hippie. It's not really what I'd expect to see. HE bomber coming in. We'll probably be going for this huge cluster of troops in the middle here. They need to scatter urgently. An A-10 HE bomber of all. 2 shilkers. They might actually kill that. No, it's going to get out, I think. Nope, it did die. Look at all those Metis launchers. FS Jaeger Metis. What a head start to have. That Abrams might actually die here. If he can keep up the fire. He's starting to miss now. He'd done a lot of damage to it though. Gotta give him credit. Look at ZergOnDope. He's in control of the entire center practically. Hippie has lost a lot there. Well done to Zerg. I mean, in this matchup, in the grand scheme of things, you would rate Hippie slightly higher because of his usual positions in these tournaments. But that opening from Zerg, absolutely outstanding. You have to give him props for that straight away. And this was something I noticed in the charity tournament. Zerg had some really good strategies. Now, considering he also had so little at the top here, he's managed to pretty much secure it all. Apache coming in there. Probably going to get in range of that Shilker if he's not careful. And this Shilker that's moved all the way forward. And in the meantime, that tank is all the way over there now. I was wondering where it got to. Oh, he needs to be careful. Oh, they're actually protected at the moment by that building. That's quite handy. He is getting some shots on. Oh, he got the Shilker. HE bomber going in there. Strike. Really good strike. Almost killed those mech rifles. And got out with minimal damage. Hippie keeping up the pressure. Pushing the bottom now with the few units he has. Realizing that the majority of ZergOnDope's forces are in the center. So he will probably be able to push Delta here. ZergOnDope maybe hasn't realized yet. Could do with... That is pulling back, but I don't know if that's an automatic thing. He could do with possibly sending those units down to the bottom instead. Just so there's more protection there. Although, Hippie's maybe not pushing all the way. It could be he's just getting a more forward line there. Hippie in strong control of this area here. A couple more bombing runs would see an end to that. But look at ZergOnDope's control of this point right now. Absolutely fantastic. And getting +2 currently by controlling that back point. No commands coming in at all for Hippie. Hippie bringing in another A1HA up at the top there. This one continues to be repaired now by that supply truck. To be fair, Hippie was lucky that stayed alive. It was getting hit by a lot of Metis launchers. Loads of reinforcement infantry coming in now. Now, the problem he has here is those tanks could do with being a little bit further forward so they can provide cover fire against these mech rifles and things coming in. One chaparral on the field there, one back there. Just thinking about this chopper here. It is a ghetto gunship. Ah, excellent. ZergOnDope bringing in reinforcements for Delta, including a command and some more Motsuchin there, which may or may not go at the centre, but certainly he will have enough to defend here. And that BRDM2 killed those engineers because the engineers only have satchel charges. No good against a vehicle. Ghetto gunship getting off plenty of fire against those mech rifles. And along with some fire support from these two tanks, should be able to kill them. That chaparral has been moved up to hit that gunship though. He could do with pulling it out. He is, but it has taken a lot of damage. It can't take another missile hit like that. And it is currently stunned. Mech rifles here. And military police. The mech rifles are the scary thing, but they are down to 2 machine guns rather than 3 because they've lost some troops. And these Alpha Clara are doing pretty well at the moment. HE bomber coming in there. Striking those guys. Very good. And that was an anti-tank, I think. Anti-ground missile. Yeah. That's the 30 penetration one. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. He killed that tank. There is another one coming in though. But that was a lovely strike. 275 points to ZergOnDope. He had capped the centre as well. He hadn't capped the bottom as yet. Now it's going to be +2 to Hippie because ZergOnDope hadn't capped the bottom. His Jaeger are pushing these scouts now though. Scouts obviously no match for the Jaeger, who are a much bigger squad. Hippie doing a very good job at just hanging on in there. Zerg is kind of stalled at controlling half of the point. And he could probably do with being a little bit more aggressive, though he does have the issue of this M1A1 HA sat there. I suppose the way to deal with that would be to move these two tanks as close as possible to that tank and get a couple of shots off, and accept that you'll probably lose the T-55s, but hopefully you will do plenty of damage. These missiles, they're okay, but versus the M1A1 HA, you're just going to want to be up close and personal to get some shots off. Close range. Beautiful move from ZergOnDope here. He is being aggressive and pushing the bottom. Look at this. HE bomber coming in and striking. Trying to get that command vehicle. Good effort. If he could see it, he would have been better off waiting for an anti-tank to hit that, so he had the missile lock rather than just bombs. Either that or ideally a cluster bomber. Still +2 to Hippie. Command is about to arrive in Delta though. He needs to push faster. There are reinforcements coming in. He needs to go and kill this CV immediately. He can't just hang around at the front of the point. I think this is where Zerg is going to fall down in this match potentially, is that he's kind of slowed right down. There we go. Beautiful. Good strike on that. This will swing to +1 point and then +3 points. Almost immediately as he has capped both. There we go. Yeah, I'm a little concerned for ZergOnDope that he's going to come unstuck because he's not being aggressive enough anymore. He did that initial very aggressive push, pushed everything across the centre, controlled the majority of this centre point, and now he's kind of stalled. And this is one of the worst things you can do, is stall in this game. If you stall, it's going to give Hippie time to rearm, reinforce, and push back. The same as here. As he was coming in there, Hippie was also reinforcing. If he just charged through, he'd probably have been on top of that CV before these reinforcements arrived, and therefore would have killed it. These units will move in, probably will kill that CV, hopefully. But he's lost stuff up here that he didn't necessarily need to lose in that fight. Not quite sure what he was doing there. He has unfortunately lost one of his jets. That's a shame. There are 2 chaparrals and plenty of stingers knocking about as well now. A stinger here. Actually, is that the only one? I think that is the only one. HE bomber coming in there, just hitting those units at the back. He's getting a bit too ballsy with these choppers now. Sorry, these aircraft now. He's getting them right over enemy air defense all the time, and he's losing them. I mean, this is very much my sort of thing, is I love to use bombers as suicide runs, but in this game, in a 1v1, you prefer to hang on to them potentially. Now again, you know, that CV is right there. It's stunned. He just needs to push a little bit. There we go, it's dead. +5 to ZergOnDope. He just needs to keep this pressure up. I mean, we're only 11 minutes into the game here. There's still a lot of time to go. Hippie has plenty of units here, realistically. He can fight back. And if we look up here, Hippie has another CV in the back there. So he's back to +2 for ZergOnDope. And Hippie is making progress. He's now got into this forest here, and there's no enemies there, and he has a firm control of this area here. Really, ZergOnDope needs to be bringing stuff around the top potentially to get in there, or just bombing it to pieces. And down here, a lovely spread out group of units for Hippie. He will probably manage to push in here. Good support for Hippie from this Apache. And unfortunately, ZergOnDope doesn't really have anything here that can fire at them. The other problem that ZergOnDope has is these units, the FS Jaeger at the back, aren't actually firing out. The Motsuchin were. And this tank is, but this tank is now taking all the fire and is against a Bradley with TOW2s. And it's going to be very lucky. Wow. Very lucky. That tank was very lucky. CV coming in there for ZergOnDope. That will push him up again in points to +4. But lots of reinforcements coming here. M1A1 Abrams will cause lots of problems for ZergOnDope. Yep, insta-pop. Though these FS Jaeger should be able to kill that, but the FS Jaeger are again in a bad position. They cannot see that tank. That is such a shame. They could have got beautiful side shots on that tank, and... oh, Zerg. Hippie making a slight push at the top here. In a pretty good position, but ZergOnDope pushing back. ZergOnDope needs to pay attention to what's going on here. That tank is dead. That was Hippie being very ballsy with that tank. That was weird. FS Jaeger, ZergOnDope has finally realised they're too far back and is moving them forward. Has he actually just lost a squad of those somehow? Oh no, they're just moving on top of each other. They are providing fire support against that chopper. Lots of reinforcements coming in here. A few reinforcements coming in for ZergOnDope as well. ZergOnDope pushing across here. The biggest threat there is that M1A1HA Abrams, but it is badly damaged. Look at that. It's down to 1 health. Zerg needs to push here. If he pushes, he will kill everything in this corner. The game is his for the taking. He's +2. He is 836 points ahead. Or 700 points ahead if we're being a bit more technical about it. Unfortunately, down here, Hippie has successfully reinforced, pushing very hard. Zerg needs to push here really, really quickly, really, really hard. He needs to just charge through, because he's about to have the same thing happen against him down here. And the problem he will have is he has nothing defending this point here. He needs to call in reinforcements. There are more coming in, and he does have two... he has a bomber and an anti-air jet coming in. Anti-air jet's going for that Apache. It is the nuisance he's got at the moment. He is successfully pushing up here, though. That CV should die. Beautiful. That should be back to +5. Unfortunately, that is going to die to the Kiowa. If oh, it's out of missiles, so it won't die to it. Currently in control, +7. Very nice, Zerg. Come on, Zerg, you've got this. Sorry, Hippie. Nothing personal. In terms of forces on the field, potentially pretty even, probably slightly more for ZergOnDope. ZergOnDope once again is distracted, possibly at the bottom of the map, and he stopped moving these units. He needs to keep the pressure up, he needs to keep moving, because this Apache is getting shots off on stuff. Hippie's still pushing in the middle. He's not stopping. This command is about to die, but he's still currently +5, so it's doing its job. All he needs it to do in the grand scheme of things, it's been well worth the purchase in terms of getting him ahead in points. We're at the 24-minute mark left in this game. Heading towards halfway through. Zerg doing an aggressive push here. I think he's going to have issues because it feels like Hippie is a bit more entrenched now. His units are in buildings. It's not going to be as easy a push as before. Good. Zerg has realized he needs to keep these moving as well. He is pushing them down. I'd be considering moving that command up here somewhere out the way, as it is very near Hippie's units, and if Hippie does manage to reinforce down here and push back, he'll be having that within his sights. A lot of reinforcements coming in, including a Shilka. Good call, because Hippie isn't being afraid to use some choppers at the moment. Very little in the middle right now for either player. Slightly more for Zerg, but it's all kind of just sat up here. Zerg has managed to push into the first building and has secured these buildings here. It will be getting shot at from above as well, though. And there is a CEV coming in, which will do a lot of damage to these infantry squads. He needs to be careful with that T-55, as it is getting very close to some of these squads with ATGMs. Engineer command coming in will push into this point, I'm sure. Cluster bomber coming in there. Lovely strike on that CEV. Good choice. CEVs, obviously, as I say, will cause a lot of damage to infantry squads. Big cluster of units here. He needs to be careful, because a successful bombing run would do a lot of damage to these guys. Up here, again, not much movement. I think Zerg is concentrating on the bottom, but he is +3. He may have this game in the bag right now. Looking for what Hippie is bringing in. He's bringing in a tank at the top there. Possibly considering doing a push in the center. Those engineers coming in to neutralize that point again. But Hippie is going to be fighting tooth and nail for these points here. T-55's coming in, another command coming in. I think Zerg wants to get another command in the back of this point just to neutralize it and give himself points again, +2 minimum. I think he might have trouble dislodging this command this time, though he does have Motsuchin coming in there. Engineers coming in there for Hippie. I'm really impressed. Zerg has managed to push into what should be an entrenched position here. He has managed to get in. Hippie obviously concentrating multiple places, as he is bringing in reinforcements up here, means that a constant stream of small amounts of reinforcements to both positions for Zerg has actually paid off. He is in this point. That command is going to die. I think this game is going to go to Zerg unless there is some drastic change in the next 10 minutes. It's going to be difficult for Hippie to catch up if Zerg continues to hold and play the way he is. And it's genuinely not what I expected from this matchup. Full credit to Zerg, he's playing so well. And he came in to me in the charity tournament concerned that he was playing badly, and I said to him at the time, no, your strategies are really good, you held your own. You may have lost that game, but you did really well, and proof in the pudding here against Hippie, he is doing a fantastic job. Beautiful positioning. Hippie in a bad position there. Brought those units straight into the point, and they all got destroyed before they even got out of their vehicles for the most part. HE bomber came in there. Not quite sure where it dropped. Possibly on these guys. +2 points. About to be +4 again to ZergOnDope. Motsuchin pushing along here to the bottom. Lost a few units for one of those squads, but otherwise doing pretty well. Firm control at this point now. Loads of units in there. Cluster bomber coming in. Will be hitting this area up here, I think. Yep. Took out that tank. That Chaparral is out of ammo. Needs some resupply, but +4 currently to Zerg. Hippie must be considering his options now. ZergOnDope has a lot more on the field. Really good positioning down here as well from Zerg. He's pushed stuff up from there, come across here. Loads of units pushing across. He's going to go up this way now, going to kill those engineers. This has to be game to Zerg. Commend Hippie for pushing on and trying to get back in these points, but I think he is completely out of this game now. Condolences, Hippie. I don't think the miracle is coming. 18.5 minutes left in this match. Very good use of these anti-tank jets. Apache coming in to support again. There isn't actually any anti-air there, but he is going to utilize his he's utilizing his anti-tank jet to stun it at least. Good use of that. Lots of reinforcements coming in down here for Hippie, but I think he's about to lose these engineers. Continues to be +4 for ZergOnDope, 1,777 points. 17 minutes, 53 seconds left of this match. That's coming in again, hitting that A10. Hippie's just firing everything at these engineers, ignoring the tank completely. But he's going to have to run them out at that point, I think. All attention switched, and that plane did manage to get a rear shot on that tank. It's all over, surely. Surely he's about to hit 2,000 points. Huge force coming in here from Hippie. Lots of reinforcements pushing up from the bottom, that was from Zerg, into these buildings. These engineers are about to die. That will be +7 points to Zerg, and surely with the win. What a game. Really, really good early push from ZergOnDope there. And I was a little bit concerned he'd sort of stalled and decided to stop pushing, but he did eventually get it back, continued pushing, continued to press his advantage, and he's done an absolutely fantastic job this game. Commiserations, Hippie. That was a hard-fought game. You were just on the back foot a bit there. Now, honestly, the kills to losses weren't as big as I expected. He was only 1,600, a little bit less than that ahead, so that's pretty good. But yeah, there was obviously a disparity there. But on, Hippie's side, Abrams doing a lot of work. The mech rifle's doing a lot of work. Abrams doing a lot of work, as expected. The Apache's doing really well. The other Abrams. On the other side, nothing really getting a huge amount of kills. It was mostly Hippie's big units getting all those kills. The Abrams in particular. Right, let's hop into game number 2. Hi everyone, and welcome back to game 2 of this matchup, Hippie vs ZergOnDope. This time we have Hippie on the right in red as the 2nd Panzer Grenadier Division. And on the left-hand side in blue, we have ZergOnDope as the 39th Infantry Division. So this time it is Hippie who has those forward deployable units. And we can see a good smattering of them going to the bottom there. Quite a few in the centre, though not a huge amount. Certainly not going for the numbers that ZergOnDope went for in the previous game. Milan's pushing into the centre there. I thought they were getting a bit too close here. The Razvedka might have had a piece of that. Choppers straight away, taking out the enemy chopper. These guys have anti-air, obviously. Good positioning there. 2 of those. An OSA coming in, another OSA there. A good selection of units from ZergOnDope here. Equally a good selection from Hippie. He does have Jeopards coming in. Now, the area that Hippie will fall down is anti-air because he literally has the Jeopards and he has some very bad Fliegerfasts. So he's relying basically on the Jeopards. ZergOnDope with plenty of units spread across the entire map. A few units up here. It is important in the grand scheme of things potentially for him to control this, so he can opt to push down into this forest at some point in the game, as we've discussed previously. Down here, nice securing of this position, this time by Hippie, not leaving anything to chance. Has a tank down there as well. Now, between these two sides, you might argue that the reality is the 2nd Panzer Grenadiers have the better tanks. I feel as though Hippie is getting himself into a defensive position. He's immediately brought into command vehicles, so he will be trying to get some early points in Charlie and the center by the looks of it. Nothing as yet for the bottom and no commands at the other side. BMP-3s being used to good effect to hit this Leopard here, though it will be killed by the Leopard. Hippie is not getting into a defensive position. He is pushing with his tanks. Now, one thing we don't see here, obviously, is any tanks on ZergOnDope's side, so he will be subject to a lot of fire from these tanks right now. Also, there are Milans at the back, which will provide good fire support when these T-62s eventually arrive. Now, the lack of anti-tank here means that Hippie is going to be in a very good position. Jeopard will be chasing away this chopper. Choppers may have potentially been useful for stun locking the tanks with the rockets, but I think that ZergOnDope is immediately in trouble in the center. He just didn't have any real anti-tank there. He went for infantry, but he has nothing to deal with all of these Leopards. Hippie even pushing down the bottom here with a few units, getting eyes on. Leopard providing fire support. Jaeger Aufkul engaging these Radvedka. Radvedka, very good units, but he's also dealing with Motostrelki Metis there, so Hippie should struggle unless he gets fire support from that. Currently they're firing on these Motostrelki in the middle. Top of this map definitely going to be controlled by Hippie now. Quite a turnaround from the last game. Leopard 2A3 coming in there as well. Plus 5 points currently for Hippie. No more commands coming in, though 2 commands coming in for Zerg. Is that the right option for him right now? Difficult to say. He's rapidly hemorrhaging units in the center, and Hippie will not stop. Hippie will keep pushing. He will continue to push into Echo if he gets control of this whole point, most likely. Certainly he will push into Golf. Hippie pushing units around the back there for better eyes on any reinforcements that might be coming. 2 Leopard 105s coming in at the top as well. Hippie moving for complete control of this point. That looks getting a bit too close to those Motostrelki there. Chopper taking a lot of fire from the Jeopard. Good use of tanks down here for fire support. I got to give it to Hippie. He's using his tanks really well this game. Can't see much in the forest, can you? Such a shame. It is such a dense tree line everywhere. You can never really see what's going on in it. But at the moment, we're in a position where Hippie is in reasonably firm control of most of the map. He is even making a push down here. More Motorstrelki coming in BMP3s there. Will cause problems for these Zisharungs, but really these tanks should be able to handle that. As long as they don't get too close. Good use of the Mi-24 down at the bottom, but there is a Jeopard coming in. And an anti-tank plane coming in for Hippie to take out that chopper. Yep. We'll be taking some fire from the Osa though. But Hippie pushing aggressively across here. We have 33 minutes just under to go in this game. And I think ZergOnDope is already in a lot of trouble. Only +1 point to Hippie right now. But in terms of sheer numbers of things that Hippie has killed, ZergOnDope is majorly on the back foot right now. Another command coming in. That'll be +3 to Hippie. I don't think that ZergOnDope is going to be in a position to neutralize the center anytime soon, and has lost the majority of his forces in the bottoming Gulf as well. Hippie sort of reached a stopping point now, not really pushing any further, perhaps just going for the I'm going to hold Bravo and not push out, which surprises me. I would have expected him to be continually aggressive in this match with such a head start in terms of what he's killed. Though these guys are down a bit of a hill and killing them will prove difficult without a bomber, because he can't get his tanks too close. Although ZergOnDope is making a push with them, which to be fair could be to ZergOnDope's advantage, because these units should be in range of these RPGs. Oh, they are in range to get hit by the tanks now though. Bomber coming in though for ZergOnDope. Did get a good strike along here, but doesn't seem to have killed too much. Fire support from the side from that tank. Good tank positioning from Hippie. 2 more tanks coming down. May get hit by a Motorstrelki Metis if they're not careful though. Down at the bottom of the map, Hippie is certainly having overwhelming force, but not pushing that advantage at the moment. Likely assumes that ZergOnDope has units in this town still. ZergOnDope's little push at the top here, not really progressing very far. Good effort, but is taking a lot of fire from various tanks around the place, including this 2A3. Leopard 1A5 killing those Metis now. It's a shame for those Metis. They may have got a shot off on this tank though, as it has taken some damage. But there's a lot of fire support coming in from these tanks. I don't think ZergOnDope is in a good position at all. +3 still currently to Hippie. 30 minutes left of this match. Hippie potentially could have been a bit more aggressive at the bottom here as well. I'm sure he will see that in the replay. Looking here, still only 1 squad coming in for ZergOnDope at the bottom there. I expect ZergOnDope doesn't really know what Hippie has there either. But really, ZergOnDope in a position where it doesn't matter where he calls stuff in, it's going to be eaten up pretty quickly if he sends it in piecemeal. This is a point where he would need to massively build up forces, and I just don't think he's going to be able to do it, because I think Hippie would hit 2,000 points before ZergOnDope had enough forces to push aside of the main point, for example. And really, he needs to be able to push Bravo and hold Gulf, and I just don't think he's going to be in a position to do that. Sheerly, in terms of numbers on the field right now, Hippie just has overwhelming force. Zerg is fighting tooth and nail for every inch of ground though. But look, you know, 2 tanks against tanks and infantry, including a 2A3 there. There's not a lot I feel Zerg can do here. He's going to lose this point. Surely there is a command. I'm really surprised there isn't a command rolling in for this right now. Because this, you know, Hippie has more than enough to hold that. 28 minutes left. Hippie +3. Breached halfway mark on the points. There goes the loss of the CV at the bottom. +5 to Hippie. And there's the surrender. Yeah, 1,700-ish kills ahead for Hippie there. That's a significant difference so early on in the game. ZergOnDope would have really struggled to come back from that. What a good set of games, guys. Each player sort of having a turn at being that really aggressive player who gets, you know, just that bite in at the start and just keeps chomping away. That was really fun. I enjoyed both those games. Really good strategies from both players. Unfortunately, in that second game, Zerg, you just didn't have any anti-tank to deal with the 1A5s that were coming at you. And the 1A5s are good tanks. I mean, look at the kills they were getting. We just scroll down there. The amount of kills those 1A5s were getting. But on the other side, obviously, I'm not going to expect to see many kills now. So, really well played, guys. Two really, really good games. That aggressive tank push, Zerg just didn't have anything to handle it. And then in the first game, you had that aggressive push of infantry with support from other vehicles. And lots of ATGMs just helped Zerg push through in that first game. But 1-1 draw, that's not bad at all. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Please do like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all soon for some more Warno.